Okay, guys. So finally, first podcast of passion and purpose. Thank you. So today I have for you the two hottest properties of IIM Bangalore. So obviously I can objectify these guys because I'm much older than them. So to introduce you, I have Rohit with all of you, and I have Deepanshu. Let's begin with who is Rohit. Just walk us through your journey from your school or college, or just talk something about you.
So basically, I was born and brought up in Jaipur. I did my schooling from there. Then eventually, as I entered 11th standard, of course, one of my relatives came up to me. I was like, "Go for IIT preparation." That is where I went, and then I got into IIT Delhi. Post that, I worked as a data scientist for 2-3 years, and then just like someone told me IIT Delhi, then someone told me go to IIM.
Someone is definitely there.
That someone is there. That someone was a constant, and now yeah.
Great. So, Dipanshu?
I am Deepanshu. I am from Delhi. I did my undergrad from not IIT. I did my undergrad from RJPT, an relatively unknown college, and it should remain so. Then basically I started working as an AI product manager for a company. But what happened is then I wanted to actually move into a very functional role, which is PM. So mostly I had a mentor, which was my senior. So he guided me towards the process of getting into IIMs.
Great. So there's a reason I called you both out as the hottest properties, not just because of the girls, but because in my opinion I've seen both of you being here and I've seen your journey. पूरा process मैंने तुम लोग को देखा and you guys have actually in my opinion excelled at almost everything here. And that is how a dream journey is for someone who wants to be here at IIM. So these guys have done well in their academics. These guys have done well in their projects. They have excellent jobs, right? That's why you want to come here. And these guys have done really well in sports as well. So let's dive to my next question, which is how much did you guys knew about IIMs or let's say CAT per se before you decided to pursue this journey?
Okay, I'll take this question first. I relatively more or less knew about IIMs, but not to the extent I know now. It was more like a dream college, sort of your Hogwarts. But I got to know about it more from a senior only, which he was a fourth year. He graduated from IIM Ahmedabad, and he was sort of looked at as a very prolific person in our college because he cracked IIM Ahmedabad. So got mentorship through him, but actually got to know the reality of IIMs यहाँ पे आके काफी ज़्यादा.
For me, I think I got introduced to the idea of IIM when I was in third year. But to be honest, I'm not bragging over here. And IIT's IIM,
No, like a true IIT.
I got you here to brag. Okay.
So in IIT's IIM is not looked at something I want to get into IIM. Of course, it's still difficult. A lot of my batchmates tried and could not get into IIMs. But over there, the charm with respect to IIMs was actually not that.
Yeah, that's why we're wearing blue jerseys and red. He's the red devil and I'm the blue one. I'm here to motivate you guys.
Great. So that's why I got two different personalities, but both of them doing really well in their careers, and you will get to know about this throughout the video. So अब main question पे आते हैं, which is in the minds of everybody. How much bigger role did the average and median salaries of the IIMs play in your decision to pursue this?
I think मैंने तो ये बात करी हुई है with you.
Correct.
And I have done this with all. But average and median salaries तो काफी flawed होता है conceptually, to be
Exactly.
honest. How it's portrayed is very flawed. In the sense कि not to diss any IIM, the point ये कि एक quote है. ऐसे बोलते हैं कि आपकी internship जो लगती है, it is decided before you even join your college because of your profile. So more or less जहाँ आप काम करके आए हो, वहाँ chance यही है कि आप more or less वही जाओगे. स्टेलर प्रोफाइल हो तो देयर इज चांस कि आप डिफर कर लो, बट मोर और लेस करोगे. तो प्रोफाइल के अकॉर्डिंग ही एवरेज सैलरी होती है, क्योंकि फिन का बंदा लाइफ टाइम जिसने फिन में काम किया है उसके लिए एवरेज सैलरी जो नंबर प्रेजेंट किया उससे मच हायर होगी बिकॉज उसको फिन में ही जाना. बट एक बंदा जिसने जनमैन में काम किया है, फ्रॉम हिम प्रॉब्ली द एवरेज सैलरी वुड आल्सो बी लोअर बिकॉज ही विल ओनली गेट शॉर्टलिस्टेड फ्रॉम दोस कंपनीज.
What do you think?
So basically, he has covered the idea from inside IIM. I would like to cover this idea from outside IIM. So since now we are relatively more mature, but while we were in undergrad, the idea of how much are you going to make mattered a lot.
Yes.
And like when you were 21, I remember one of my friend, his father had called up and he was like, just write video placement season कि तेरी इतने की तो job लग जाएगी ना. So basically because of those kind of external pressures, I think it matters. As you go forward, of course, with your credentials, you can say it doesn't matter. But I think initially, someone who has not made that much money, for him this medium thing.
Someone
will
is
matter.
me, by the way, guys.
But then now you are compensating big time for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will not talk about that right now.
For sure.
But yes, now he's like compensating big time. So my next question is actually like diving a little deep into what just Rohit said. So what would you, I want you to just imagine that, you know, you go back to your first year self, your first year UG self, not first year IIMB self. So go back to your first year UG self, and what would you tell to that boy, that naive boy, based on all your learnings of IIM today? What would you tell to that?
I think I know the answer. just do finance.
that I would also say
Very good
to
answer.
myself, yeah.
The first thing I think I would tell him that life is a marathon.
Correct.
Because as soon as I got into that college, I became very complacent. I was already burnt out by the time I got in. So one thing I would tell him, that keep studying. Just because you got in here doesn't mean you'll do continuously well eventually. And the second thing is, you have literally no idea what you want.
And
So-
this is coming from someone from IIT Delhi, right? That
Yeah.
if you just get in, doesn't matter, it doesn't stop there. It's just beginning.
A lot of people don't know what they want.
And this just doesn't just go for IT, even for IIM. Eventually, when we graduate a few years down the line, we'll come across a lot of people who are neither from IT or IIM, and probably will be bossing us around.
Correct.
Yeah.
That goes for every brand.
I think I would actually, my story is a little different from him. I didn't go to an IIT. I actually suffered from a lot of panic attacks, anxiety, which you usually have from you going through your career. I would say to my first year self that, on the contrary, same line I'll use, you don't know what you're going to do in life later. So I mean, and again I would reiterate what Rohit said, life is a marathon, and you wouldn't believe that even till now I'm telling IIM students that life is a marathon, because everybody is just very focused on one focal point in life.
Correct.
The life is a marathon, your career is a marathon. It is a 10-year, 20-year game. You challenge somebody from an IIT, non-IIT, you play the long game, right? Do not play the shorter game. Maybe you'll win, maybe you won't, but the life is a long game.
Great. So now again, I think my next question connects to this. So in this long game journey of both of you, what is this like one very big strength of yours? It can be anything, like something you go towards to seek strength.
Yeah.
What is that?
I think for me, I thought I've always known this, to be honest, but since I started working, my ability, and I tell this to people like close friends of mine, my ability to perceive a threat, that this will happen, whatever is unfolding in front of me, based on those variables, this is happening. Based on those variables, I'm able to assess the threat very quickly. This will happen if something has to unfold. मुझे पता होगा कि ये होने वाला है बहुत पहले ही. So I think that I've seen myself कि ये चीज मैं बढ़िया से कर सकता हूँ. तो हाँ.
And backward planning based on that.
हाँ, backward plan based on that, obviously, letting the team know that this will happen and this is your edge case. Finding that particular edge case in your strategy is what I'm very good at. I don't know how would I rely on it, but I'm good at it.
But a very nice insight. Like if you can pinpoint to that particular strength of yours, I think that's a very, very good insight to have. Rohit?
So in my case, I think now I've gotten very comfortable with the idea of dealing with the worst possible outcome. In undergrad, I think everything was very rosy, that I'll somehow make it, but after coming here, I think I've gotten very used to the idea, okay, this is the worst, this can happen, I should do this. So a very pragmatic approach toward most of the things. And I would also like to ask you, Mr. Ashwini, because you have certainly had a longer life than us.
Correct.
Yeah,
We'll not talk about how long, but yes.
Yeah, definitely long. Yeah, you tell us.
Yeah, for me, I just feel, because I come from a certain background, and so I just feel that self-beliefs is very important, and sticking to deadlines also. I'll be very particular. So what worked in my case is, whenever I decided to do something, I always like kept a deadline for it, and I ensured that I follow it. So I think that is one thing that helps me feel in control, and me feeling in control makes me feel full of strength also. So that's for me. You guys actually have the most sought after jobs right now, right? So one of you is going to be a product manager, and one of you is going to be a consultant, and in super excellent companies. So I want to learn from you. Tell me, what is product management and I'm a 5-year-old. I don't know what product management is.
Yeah, so I'm going to be the product manager, he's going to be the consultant. So for a product manager, for a 5-year-old, I would explain it to him like this very simply. Ki your parents probably wanted you, parents decided that you have to score good marks, and that is has been your goal now. You're 5-year-old, and you're in probably in UKG, LKG, whatever. You have to do your ABCDs right, and now you think of a better way to learn your ABCDs, and that is what you implement in your lifestyle. That's what a product manager does. There's a business goal to be hit, and product managers decide what features should be on the product, how would they look like, how would they go, and how would they be released, and then post it. That what comes after it, like the assessment, whether it was a success, what happens to that, how can we make revenue. All of this is a lifestyle or a life job of a product manager.
How often do you have to collaborate with other teams? Is that what you?
Oh, it's a very, very multifunctional role. You have to collaborate with, you won't believe, you have to collaborate with legal also. You have to collaborate with content also. Content team decides whether what is written on the product. That's the, even like so taking example of Zomato probably. You, whatever is written, these flyers, whatever content team decides what's actually going to be in the product. And then is there any legal requirement, legalities around the entire thing, then legal will flag it. You have to make sure that it works. Everything. There is too much collaboration.
So Rohit, how to be like? What's it like to be a consultant?
So consulting would be, so let's say you have just completed with your 10th standard and you get in touch with one of your cousins who is in college who is now helping you decide what stream you should go for, science, commerce. If you get into science, what engineering will look like and all those things. So let's say in consulting a business, a company would come up to you and would ask you advice over different options that they have. You are supposed to help them in that direction. In some cases, consulting also comes at just as a rubber stamp. So let's say a company already knows what to do, but a rubber stamp from a consulting company would provide more credibility to a decision you had already taken.
The specialized information
Yes.
and correct.
Yeah.
They can go ahead with it. Nice. Okay, so now I would like to deep dive a little bit into the journey at IIM Bangalore, and just one deeper question about schooling. So what was school like for you? Basically, what do you think? How did school set you guys for the success you guys have right now?
मेरे लिए तो
बहुत जेनरिक क्वेश्चन है,
हाँ,
but
मेरे लिए तो स्कूल काफी कूल था एक्चुअली. बेस्ट इयर्स ऑफ माय लाइफ. काफी फन था, बहुत मस्त मस्ती, बहुत बकचोदी थी स्कूल में तो काफी ज्यादा. एंड स्कूल में अच्छा क्या था, द थिंग दैट फॉर्मेटिव इयर्स में the best thing was that basically it gave you at least my school gave me a peer group where you can learn communication. And then what helped me also is like the peer group were actually, they were studying in science, they were studying for IIT, so I made me a little more serious because a lot of people were actually studious, academically oriented. So it helped me that. And discipline, sports, I played sports from 5th class, and school was a big catalyst in that. So I'm thankful to that. And then because of that, sports, a lot of discipline also has been pinned down in me, like competition, how to win type of feelings are there. Yeah.
So because you mentioned a lot of things, I just have a specific follow-up question. So what do you think? How confident did school make you? Does school have a role in you being this confident in life right now?
Yeah, definitely.
That's my
yeah,
question.
yeah.
Rohit, how was school for you?
My school actually focused a lot on soft skills, although I could not make the most of it, but I made the most of the sports thing that was there. I was fortunate to be in a school that had very good sports facilities, very good coaches. So I think I've been playing football ever since. I've done really well in that regards. So I think because of that part, the school playing a catalyst. I've seen actually a lot of people who wanted to play football in undergrad, but it was already too late. We were not interested in taking up anyone who has not played football before. So I think part of the fact that I can play sports is because I was privileged enough to be in a school that actually had these facilities.
Surprisingly, we are doing an academic podcast, and you guys realize that how important sports is to us actually, both of us.
Correct.
I mean, we are both sitting in IIM Bangalore. Still, we are talking about sports. So it goes to say how important sports is in general.
Yeah, and if not sports, any other hobby, right?
Yeah.
I think that
Yes.
defines your personality. It's always important to have something
Yeah.
like that, and you should never leave
Yeah.
anything you really like doing. I also
I think the lack of these soft skills, you realize the impact much later in life.
Correct,
And by
correct,
the time
correct,
there's
correct, exactly.
nothing you can do about it actually.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great. So now let's talk about IIMB. And I've mentioned multiple times you guys are doing so good, this and that. So now tell me how good you are doing by telling me any three things you like about IIMB.
Okay, so firstly, the great thing about IMB is the opportunities it will give you. Like, you wouldn't believe the kind of opportunities it gives you. Maybe Rohit does because he's from a very premier college and he has seen those opportunities, but I haven't. So it was a real surprise for me and those who are watching from a probably a tier 3, tier 2 college. I would just say ki it does give you a lot of opportunity in the sense that leadership roles actually come here, where they're like in ABCs at least proper leadership role where companies want to groom you into an executive. That type of role come here, and you wouldn't see that anywhere else. First is that, then peer network is definitely there, and IMB particularly a trade very unique to IMB is that it's a little less hectic than other IMs. So that's also the third option.
What about
For
you?
me, the main thing was I was able to be friends with people who are not engineers.
Oh.
Ever since now, like through school, I've only been friends with people who eventually went into engineering. So I think वो इंजीनियरिंग में लॉन्डो वाली जो बात होती है ना वो थोड़ी तमीज सीखना रह जाते हैं अब
This I would not relate to, but I can laugh about.
No, that's definitely true. You'd have seen me.
Yeah, I know, but and like this is my very first interaction with engineers. So जो तुम opposite बता रहे हो मैं एकदम उसका opposite feel कर रहा हूँ. So it is so fun for me also.
Yeah.
और मैंने भी अपने so I am from Delhi University and मैंने उस टाइम पे बहुत सुना था मूवीज में भी सुनते ना कि इंजीनियरिंग के लड़कियों की बकचोदी ऐसी होती है वैसी होती है एंड उस टाइम पे आई यूज्ड टू लाफ इट ऑफ कि यार दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी से बेटर नहीं हो सकता एंड नो इट इज बेटर एक्चुअली दीस गाइस हैव मच मोर फन सो यू मेंशन वन थिंग यू वुड यू लाइक टू मेंशन एनी थिंग एल्स यू लाइक अबाउट IIM Bangalore.
I think the second thing is understanding the fact that other than like IIT also there are a lot of talented people. So until now my peer group was only within that group. Coming out of that place and realizing that there are a lot of people that equally talented, if not more, that are not from these colleges.
Yeah.
I think that realization, you have that realization some level, but I think coming face to face with the realization, it's completely different.
Let's move to something, any two things you don't like about IIM Bangalore or any MBA or anything.
MBA, I think before you even come to the MBA, where you are going to get placed is more or less decided. Like,
So
Yeah.
So
Really
you guys,
hate to break it to you guys.
exactly. So you guys are saying that if you're thinking that I'll change my career drastically by doing an MBA, it might not happen, right?
Unless you have a stellar profile. Let's say
Correct.
you are IIT and gold medalist, SRCC and something, you stellar profile, you can definitely change your career. But if you have a relatively medium profile, then you have to work really hard, do extra things which people are not doing. Then you are able to change your profile.
Someone with a stellar profile can change their profile as in from coding to consulting within the first 6 months.
Yeah.
If you do not have a stellar profile, you'll have to come here, make a stellar profile through getting the best grades in IIM and then try to change.
Or take what college gives you.
Take what college gives you.
Yeah.
So basically, a lot of people want to come to IIM to switch their career trajectory, but most of the times IIM actually does not let you do that. Like
Correct.
Deepanshu came from product and went into product, like literally a competitor of his company. Of
Yeah.
course, now he'll be paid exponentially more.
Correct.
But I was able to switch from coding to consulting. But to be honest, cases like me are actually very few. Most of the engineers,
Stellar profile.
Stellar profile, guys.
not stellar profile, but most of the people who actually got into consulting came from consulting.
Yeah,
I think it's very difficult to switch even after coming to IIM.
that's true.
So any feedback or any scope of improvement you see again at IIM Bangalore or MBA?
It's very difficult to suggest an improvement because if you were to think from the company, like all what I've said so far was from the perspective of a student.
Correct.
From the perspective of a company, it just makes sense to hire someone who has already has a similar work experience.
No, from the campus's side, do you expect something more from the campus to do for you?
I don't think I expect anything more from the campus, honestly. Like, this is just the way things are. I don't think campus can do anything about this.
I just think probably there could be more. I wouldn't know how, but more practical learning. I mean, we do these cases, and these cases are mostly more or less they are open ended at the end of the day, and the objective is not to teach you what happened. It's to teach you to take a decision but then you should put us also in some certain situations where you have to take a certain decision. Simulated learning would be great in MBA because you
Yeah.
don't really learn anything.
You are in that decision when you have to decide that should I sit for day zero or should I not sit for day zero.
Yeah, you learn about all this day zero, day one collapse and drama when you get here. But yeah, it's a whole shit show. Day zero, day one, day three, whatever.
Yeah, that these guys will get to know after some time.
Yeah.
But yes, that is something you really need to learn how to deal with if you're coming here.
Yeah, it's probably like I think probably for 85%, 80% people, it was the most stressful situation in their lives.
And like we're talking about placements, like day zero, day one, day two, are the placement days.
Yeah.
Okay, so my panel consists of an IITian and a non-IITian, and I actually deliberately made this choice, to be very honest, and these guys were generous enough to come and talk about it. So basically, my next question is: see, going to an IIT and not going to an IIT is really a big deal in our society, and so many people struggle with it. So you went to an IIT and you did not go to an IIT. So my question is actually, I want you to imagine the day, both of your JEE results came up. So what would you tell to that boy who's looking at the result right now, and you being the person you are? So go back, 5, 6, 7, 8, or whatever years it is. What would you tell to that boy right now who's looking at the result and he's just confused or maybe very happy?
In my case, I would just tell him to make the most of IIT because I think I've made the most of IIM because I'm now more mature. In IIT, I actually could not make the most of it. Despite the opportunities over there, I was very complacent and was very, I think, in that mood that my brand name will now carry me for a long time. So I would probably tell him that the story is far from over.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what would you want, like something specific you would want that person to be more active with? Let's say academics, sports, interaction.
Sports, so anyways, I was doing, but I was again thinking from a student's profile. So I had decent GPA and I was doing very well in sports. I thought the combination of these two is a very good thing. But if you were to think from an employer's perspective, he could not care less about how good of a footballer I am.
Correct.
So that realization came at a very late point in my life. I expected the company to reward me for managing football and academic, but that is not going to be the case. I'm playing football for myself, not for in the hope that I would get a better job opportunity.
So you are basically saying that you're going to an educational institute, you better learn also.
Yes. Basically academic is the main goal. Rest everything revolves around it.
Okay.
I think I got a bit distracted.
Deepanshu?
I think I would just tell him that it's okay. You're going to do great things. Grit and perseverance is the key always. Like whatever you do in life, grit and perseverance is the key. We talked about how career is a marathon, and the only thing to sustain a marathon is grit and perseverance. So, but just tell him that you will see what you will do.
Correct. So, and this is coming from a guy among the top 20, 30 among 610. I think we are 610 or so. And he did not go to an IIT.
It would be really fun if 10 years down the line you conduct an interview where you have a IIM, non-IIM student sitting here and both of them are at the same pedestal.
Yeah. Probably they would be, yeah.
They would be, actually. A lot of talented people are not here.
And that's one of the reasons why we are doing it, right? Because if somebody was there for us to tell us such things before, I think we would have definitely done what we are doing right now, but we would be much less stressed, right? And we would have made most of the opportunities we had.
Yeah.
So now I have this may be a controversial question, but I think information is highly needed on this and perspectives are always welcome. So what do you guys think about reservations in India?
So I think most of the people, of course, a very negative thing comes to mind when you hear the word reservation. Now there are two parts to it. First thing is the entire existence of the system, that you just hate that it exists. That I believe is not right, at least for India. The second part is hating the fact that a lot of people who do not need are getting it. Now that part is very debatable, but in terms of whether it is needed or not, my stance is that yes, it is still needed.
Deepanshu?
I think it's needed, required by social injustice. So we only see 2% of cases, but there is a 98% to unravel. I personally know somebody who is an SC candidate, but he really needed that sort of help from the system to propel himself. And that's my opinion.
But I think this goes beyond just reservation, like even the gender diversity and the academic diversity point provided in IIM is also very contentious topic. So
So me being a political science student, I think I can add a little bit onto it. So like for example, you mentioned the gender, like women candidate are given extra points just to appear. So I think again going back into the sort of subjugation certain classes and certain communities have gone through. For example, let's take a general example of women. Right? Women have always been subjugated in our community, right? So and nowadays, right, we study also about it that there is a glass ceiling for them. So similarly, I think there are a lot of social obstructions still in our country, and uh, not everybody has equal opportunity and equal access to resources. And I think if reservation helps people get it, they should get the benefit of reservation. So my next question to you guys is about. So I am very new to management, right? So I come from non-engineering background, and in non-engineering also I've done BA honors. So after coming here, I saw that getting a job is really important. Yeah, getting a job in life is really important, right? How would you survive? But then I heard about the concept of a dream job. So I want to know about you. What do you guys think about this concept of a dream job? Do you guys have any dream job?
So in your heads, what is a dream job?
Yeah, correct. For you, in your head.
Yeah, for me, to be honest, I have put a lot of pressure on myself to have this dream job, like to actually pursue success as a mantra, like money, to actually chase after money a lot. So and that was my dream job per se, which will give me more money for a longest time. But then after getting into a good job, realizing that it's there. I mean, everyone can say grass is greener on the other side, but I would say that. Uh, there is no, I mean, for me at least, there is no concept of dream job. I do not, I mean, I've stopped taking such happiness from the concept of a job. My job is to do excellence in the job itself, and then whatever comes happens. It's that, and then I don't derive any happiness from it. Neither do I derive any sorrow from it. That's my take from dream jobs, a job in general.
Rohit?
for me also, of course, initially dream job is just like you said. The only criteria is more and more money,
Yeah.
because you come from a normal background and probably you have not seen those figures. So, but eventually, of course, I think for my dream job, a better work-life balance and a non-toxic work environment. I'm not surrounded by people who are not very smart.
Correct.
I mean, I would add to this. I had a recent interaction with an alumni of this college only, and he was like 58 something, retired, very old. He actually answered a very important question in my life, because a lot of people, like a lot of us, thrive for happiness in general. Like, do you seek happiness through a lot of things? And I think he answered it very perfectly for me, that you don't seek happiness, you seek success, you seek excellence in the terms, and happiness is just part of the things that comes along with it. It's a byproduct, not the things you should seek. You should seek to do things right, to have to be better at your job, and whatever happens from that, it's a byproduct, because will probably spend half your lives chasing happiness. Ki, I am not able to find happiness in this and this and that, and probably you'll realize 50 years later that it doesn't exist.
And even if it exists, it's in the small things.
Yeah.
Like chasing big things, like you might feel it will give you happiness. So I'll give you a very personal anecdote. So I started working in a NGO, and my first salary was 18,000 rupees. And जब मैं वो काम करता था तो मेरे को लगता था यार जिस दिन 50,000 कमाने लगूंगा ना, I'll be the king of the world. है ना, दिल्ली में एकदम रोज पार्टी होगी, रोज खाना पीना होगा. फिर 50,000 कमाने लगा एक दिन, तो फिर मेरे को लगा यार वो तो नहीं हो रहा है, आई एम नॉट द किंग ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. देन आई थॉट कि 1 लाख जिस दिन कमाऊंगा उस दिन इट विल हैपन, एंड इट डिडंट हैपन देन आल्सो, एंड देन आई रियलाइज इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन. सो लेट्स जस्ट फोकस ऑन स्मॉल थिंग्स इन लाइफ.
जिंदगी से ड्रीम था कि आईपैड ले लेना, प्रो
Correct,
वाला.
correct, correct.
80,000 रुपए का आईपैड लिया, उसको देखा अब क्या करूं उसमें, पेन कुछ बनाऊं उसमें. बस इतना ही है, मतलब कोई पॉइंट नहीं है. बट हम लोग ऑब्वियसली बहुत प्रिविलेज्ड हैं, यहाँ बैठ के बात कर सकते हैं तो कर रहे हैं. बट मैं ये बोलना चाहूंगा कि it's regardless of whatever has happened.
I think that sense of security comes after you have some money.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct, correct.
Yeah, definitely.
Basically, you should be in a choice. Basically, you should be in a position where you can make that choice.
Huh.
Like I should be able to make
Yeah.
that choice of buying an iPhone
Yeah.
and deciding
Exactly.
not to do so. So
Obviously, having money is always better than not having it.
So my personal example, right? So I have 7 years of work experience, and leaving that, deciding to do a residential 2 year program
Yeah.
here, right? Not earning, spending money, and that I could make that only because I had saved because of my 7 years of work experience.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would not have been able to do this.
But the point is, this is not the only thing.
Correct.
That's all.
Okay, finally, last question, guys. So, a very simple question. Many people think that people who have entered IIMs now their life is sorted. So I just want to ask: is it? Do you guys have you guys found out your ikigai?
So I don't. It's the same idea that IT. You get into IT, it's not like your life is sorted. Competition actually increases. You are more worried, and of course, all those things are there. Of course, it gives you a good launching pad, but like I said in the beginning, it's a marathon. So eventually,
I mean, I have the same answer. I will again say, reiterate, the theme of the podcast should be that life is a marathon and it is a long game. You have to paddle every day, come to work and again do it again and again, solve problems. And that's the biggest thing. Always have a problem solving mindset. Like, that's what you should always focus on, cater to, have a solving mindset. Then only you will succeed in your career. If you think that IIT IIM will carry you through your life, it will really not.
Nice. Thank you so much, guys. So we'll end at this. And so life is a marathon, guys, not a sprint. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
thank you.
पैसे दे दो